I was talking with my wife at the intermission about this tremendous event and the amazing speakers that we've had today. And I asked her, in her wildest dreams, could she imagine that a few of my students encouraged me to participate in this event and offer my insight on redefining success? And she agreed that there was an inspiring message in there someplace, but then objected to the fact that I had ever been in her wildest dreams. So, she's not there. She'll be in the back if anybody else needs a pep talk a little bit later. Yeah, but I really am honored to be here and offer you potentially an alternate concept of success. Maybe one that will get you to have a new idea, a more fulfilling and more rewarding definition of success. I plan on using a few examples from my 24-year naval career. Unfortunately, I need to offer a disclaimer that I'm here representing myself and not the Department of Defense or the Department of the Navy. So you ready? I'd like to start with your definition of success. So if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and imagine success. Paint a picture of a successful you. And as that image comes into focus and the background fills in, take a snapshot. Now, chances are many of you painted a picture of a profession. You having become a doctor, a lawyer, maybe a teacher, or the founder of your own tech startup. And all those are worthy professions or worthy pursuits. But I contend that those are merely a means to achieve a more rewarding level of success that can be found in the background of that picture. Let me elaborate using my own example. Had you asked me to paint my success picture for most of my life, I would have painted the picture of a fighter pilot. From my earliest days in grade school, that's all I wanted to be. After several years, some setbacks, a lot of hard work, I finally made it. I was living my dream as a pilot. And it was awesome. Fighter aviation offered the typical Type A personality with a rich environment in which to thrive. It was dynamic, competitive, physically and mentally challenging, and it offered an exhilarating contrast between the serene beauty of flying above the earth at 9 miles over the surface, juxtaposed to the speed rush of flying at 500 miles an hour a few hundred feet above the ground. It was everything I thought it would be. And in the pre-9/11 days of the late 1990s, fighter aviation was primarily focused on air-to-air combat, the pinnacle of which was dogfighting. Now, in these hypothetical scenarios, one pilot would try to outmaneuver and outperform another who is simulating an adversary. In a way, it was the ultimate form of competition. Each engagement had one winner and one loser. We even had a scoreboard of sorts to keep track of your success. And there was a direct link between my performance in the aircraft and my opportunity to advance or promote. And that paradigm of perform, reward is pretty common across the public and private sector. And although I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, I found that definition of success to be very individualized, a little self-centered, and on a personal level, a little shallow. Can you imagine climbing the exact mountain that you wanted to climb, getting to the top and realizing something's missing? And then 9/11 happened. 9/11 ushered in some significant changes for our country. The most profound for me on a personal and professional level was a shift in that mission focus from those air-to-air scenarios to supporting our troops on the ground. No longer were we dealing with hypothetical scenarios and simulated adversaries. These missions were real, and there was an intangible result that couldn't be measured on a scoreboard. Oftentimes, I received feedback in the form of a radio transmission from a troop on the ground with a heartfelt, "Thank you." And now there was a connection between my performance and improving the condition of somebody else. And that's a powerful connection because it provided me with what was missing prior to 9/11. I now had meaning and purpose behind my work. And knowing that somebody else would benefit from me doing my job better, I studied more, I became a better pilot, and I looked for ways to innovate, to enhance my support to the guys on the ground. They became my motivation and now my new definition of success. And it was in that moment that I realized I was looking at success all wrong. I wasn't successful or a success because I attained a certain position or I was living my childhood dream as a pilot. Instead, being a pilot offered me the opportunity to help someone else. All too often, when we leave college and join our first profession, we are overcome by the rat race of advancement, of gaining more power, climbing a ladder, and monetary compensation. I contend that those are byproducts of having meaning and purpose behind your work and not goals to themselves. And if you really focus on helping someone else, those traditional forms or definitions of success will follow. It's real interesting that if you look at the TED Talk archive, you'll find numerous conversations of how the perform, reward, happiness paradigm is exactly wrong if you're worried about or concerned about increasing performance. They say you have to be happy first, and I wholeheartedly support that new paradigm, especially if you can equate happiness to having purpose and meaning behind your work. And when I made that realization, I performed my job better. I became a better and more empathetic leader. I became a better person. But I was also surprised at how well that same concept worked at the organizational level. When my flying days were over, I took a position in Washington, D.C. Now get ready for this phrase that we had in the military. I worked at the Joint Improvised Explosive Device Defeat Organization. We just simply called it JIDO. The #1 causer of casualties for our troops in Afghanistan and Iraq was the improvised explosive device, those homemade roadside bombs. JIDO was formed to reduce the effects of the IED. And I'd never been in a more driven and focused organization in my entire career. And I attribute that to the fact that everyone there, or almost everyone there, had a connection to somebody in Afghanistan or Iraq. And they also did a great job in ensuring that everybody in the organization knew who our customer was. Every day when I walked out of my office, I saw this poster. An image of 3 men that I had never met, and a simple question asking, "What have you done for the warfighter today?" It was a powerful image, not because of the graphic nature, because it reminded us of who would benefit from our work. I remember receiving an impassioned plea from Afghanistan. There was a certain lower body injury that was devastating our forces, and they needed a solution, and they needed it now in a matter of weeks. When we took that request to our partners in industry, we received significant pushback. They either didn't have a solution for it, or if they did, their time frame for delivery was 12 months away. That's not what we needed. And this image of Staff Sergeant Bradley Castle and his 2 Marine comrades reminded us of who was going to benefit from us finding the solution. And it compelled my colleagues and me to find a way to get to yes, and we eventually did. In about 2 months, we delivered a device to Afghanistan in enough numbers that we soon received feedback that those lower body injuries were reduced by 40%. And there it was. Just like that radio transmission that said, thank you, we now had proof that our efforts in this organization were improving the condition of someone else. And on a personal level, even though I was sitting in an air-conditioned office some 7,000 miles away from the troops in Afghanistan, I felt connected to them, just like I did when I was flying a couple thousand feet above their heads. And it was that image that made the connection for me. And it's so important that we have that image connecting our success to the people who will benefit from it. So I ask you, who's on your poster? Can you make a connection between your efforts and someone else? Can you make that emotional connection between your success and improving the condition of someone else? If you can, take that image and put it on a poster and put that poster on a wall where you can see it every day. Because regardless of how you define success, success is hard. There'll be obstacles and detractors every step of the way. And having a reminder of who will benefit from your success will motivate and inspire you to overcome those obstacles. And if you're having trouble figuring out the who, go back to that original success image that we used at the beginning of the talk. If you can change your perspective and elevate your point of view and look past that initial success image, explore the background, and you'll find the who or what there. Maybe it's the face of a patient that you as a doctor will help. Maybe it's the face of a bunch of veterans who need a lawyer to ensure they get the benefits that they earned. Or maybe it's the picture of the myriad of causes that you as a millionaire will now support. Whatever it is, it's in the background of that picture. And when you can make that connection between your effort and improving the condition of that person or thing, you too will want to do your job better. You will want to become a better leader, and you will become a better person. I think Albert Schweitzer summed it up very well in this quote. I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know, the only ones among you who will really be happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, this community, our state, our nation, and humanity in general are truly in need of the leaders and best. I challenge and encourage you to connect your success with improving the condition of someone or something else, and in that you will find a more rewarding and more fulfilling level of success and a happier life. I wish you the best. I thank you for your attention, and go Blue.